it's easy enough to fly that a beginner can use it, and it's like maneuverable enough that an expert can fly it. Alright guys, I have the M2 EVO plugged in with the 750 60C discharge rate battery, and you can see everything is working and everything is straight, and I'm hoping to have my throttle when I put it on the ground. Just put it in this flat spot. Okay, so let's take off my throttle hold and spool her up. Oh. I think my blades might be too tight. Okay, so I have it programmed so the gyro is active on normal mode. So it's not like a self-leveling gyro or anything, it's just you let go of the stick and it centers it back for you. So the tail authority on this thing seems pretty good. Let's just try some circles. I can already tell that the tail motor or rotor is very quiet now. Like you can still hear obviously because it's a direct drive model, but nonetheless it's definitely a lot quieter than the M2, because even in normal mode this thing would be screaming right now. Let's take her into idle up 1. Okay. Feels very nice. Some smooth tail still holding up strong. She is nice, very solid. Let's take her into idle up 2. This is the high head speed. Okay. You know, the M2 and the S2, these just like these little micro direct drive helis. They all feel robotic, if you know what I mean. It's kind of hard to explain. Yeah, the tail is so much quieter. I'm in love with it. You can like barely hear the tail at all. That's so cool. Now if I take her back into idle up 1, I think this is a sweet spot for her. I think I have this one at like 30%, or like, okay, the RadioMaster numbers and the Spektrum numbers are different. On my RadioMaster controller, I have it on 30. I want to say this is about like 60 on Spektrum. I want to try a pyro flip, but I don't want to at the same time. Just try some hurricanes. Okay, now you can hear the tail. Alright, let me take her in for a landing. Whoa. Bumpy. Okay, that was my maiden flight on the M2 EVO, and that was an amazing flight. I'm really impressed with the helicopter. I can definitely see that the tail rotor is definitely designed better because there's very, very low sound coming from it. You can barely hear it, but it was a bit louder when I did my hurricanes. You could hear it started to scream. But this thing is super solid. The tail rotor held up with big collective changes, and everything was just super solid. It did have that same type of feel to like the M2 Explorer and the S2 Legend, where it kind of felt robotic, but I don't think there's a way around that. I think it's just something that happens with these little sub-micro helicopters that are direct drive. But I mean, yeah, she's really, really maneuverable, and you can really throw her around. I'm definitely not the best helicopter pilot, but I'm sure if you were like an insane Mach 3D pilot, you can definitely have some fun with this because the tail rotor definitely holds up a lot better than the Explorer. So yeah, I think that's it for my first flight. So let's go into our second with the 45C battery.
Awesome, Maiden John. Congratulations, buddy.
Alright guys, I have a second battery for the M2 EVO. This time it's going to be a slightly weaker battery. It's the 750 milliamp 45C. This is the battery that we use with the Blue Sky S2 Legend. So hopefully she still has the same amount of performance. She's probably going to be just a tad bit less powerful. I mean, 60 to 45 isn't that big of a change, so. But everything's still working here. Take off my throttle cut. Spool her up. She is a fantastic model. The cool thing about these sub-micros, I mean both the M2, all of the M2s and the S2 Legend, is that they can be flown by a beginner and an expert pilot, because I'm like kind of in the middle. But it's easy enough to fly that a beginner can use it, and it's like maneuverable enough that an expert can fly it. Whoa. Yeah, I will say it is slightly harder to tell orientation with the white. But I'm not complaining. Still have an amazing model here. I have noticed that it is slightly harder to do horizontal TikToks with the sub-micros. Like I just can't do them. starting to idle up too for a bit. I have my timer set to 3 minutes, but I think OMP's website says you can go up to like 4, so I think I was getting the same amount of juice with this battery, so I'm not complaining. Alright, I'm gonna land it. Let me just cut throttle. Let's see how she spins. Oh, okay, she's actually pretty floaty. Alright, so that was my second flight on the M2 EVO, and now that I knew how she performed, I was able to just do a little bit more than what I did on my first flight. But she flies really, really nicely. I'm super impressed with the model. She's actually, she feels a lot lighter than the M2 Explorer and the S2 Legend. It just, the collective jumps are a lot nicer on the M2 EVO. And yeah, I can't really explain. She just feels lighter in the air. And she's also a bit more floaty. You could see that I cut the throttle for my landing and she just floated down, and I still had some pitch control. So yeah, she's a bit more of a floaty model than the M2 V2 and the M2 Explorer. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. So thanks for tuning to John's RC. And if you're new to this channel, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye guys, I'll see you in the next video.
Awesome flight, John. Great flight.
Hey guys, John here, and welcome back to John's RC. So today I'm really excited to show you guys this helicopter. It's been a little bit since I've done a helicopter video, but this is the OMP Hobby M2 EVO. And I am a bit late to dinner on this one. This one's about 6 months old, but we have it now and I'm super excited to fly it. So this is, I already opened the package to program it and everything, but I just put on this little casing just to show you guys what it looks like for the first time. But you can see it does come in the same OMP Hobby little case that we all know and love, that also came with the OMP M2, V2, and the Explorer. So this is what it looks like, and you can see it does come with a little extra. So it comes with the flybarless unit manual, so when you want to program the flybarless. It also comes with a crash kit, just in case. So it comes with extra feathering shafts, zip ties, servo linkages, and a swash pit leveler. And it also comes with a bunch of extra screws, so that's really nice. And then this is the main star of the show. This is the M2 EVO. So I did get this in white, however there are 4 different color options to choose from. There's the white one, of course. There's also yellow, orange, and red. And I just personally like the white one. I'm not sure if it's going to be harder to tell orientation in flight, but I just kind of like the way it looks. So the M2 EVO has some differences to the M2 V2 and the M2 Explorer. It does have longer blades. It has 190mm blades, so they are a little bit larger than the M2 V2. Not drastically larger, but still a little bit larger. There's also an improved head, and there's also an improved tail rotor, so it's larger and it's also quieter. So if you remember my M2 Explorer video, the tail rotor was quite loud. It was kind of annoying too, so I'm hoping on this one it's just quieter on flight. They've also just improved the main motor and the tail rotor, so it's of course quieter but also more powerful, and it can also support slower RPMs. So they also improved the battery hatch case, whatever you want to call it. You can see it's got this little roller thing, and it does come with the battery. I'll talk to you about that in a second, but you can see it just slides in like that, and it's a lot more convenient because it's friction held, and it's different from the M2 Explorer because on the M2 Explorer and the M2 V2 it was held on by Velcro, and there was also a Velcro strap that you had to put in, and that was also quite annoying. So I'm glad that they improved that. This is the battery. It comes with a single 3-cell battery. It's a 3-cell 750 mAh battery pack, and this is improved from the M2 V2. This is the same size battery that they use in the Goose Sky S2. It's also 750, but I think the only difference is the C rating. This has a discharge rate of 60 C, and the S2 has a discharge of 45 C. So this is going to be slightly more powerful, but I only have one of these, so I'm also going to be using the S2 battery on the flights, but this is going to be the one I use for the Maiden. You can also see I have a DSMX satellite installed onto this thing, and you can also see that I had to shave off some of the foam on the packaging because the DSMX satellite kind of interfered with the case closing. So you can see it's in there, and the cable was quite long, so we had to just zip tie it to the little frame here. It was also quite difficult because they changed how the frame is designed, and there's a lot less space to just put things on with, so we just have it sitting right there. And the transmitter I'm using, I actually need to introduce this to you guys. This is my new toy. This is the RadioMaster TX16S Mark II. And I am going to be doing a whole entire video on this because it is quite intricate and there's a lot of components to it. But to put it in simple terms, it's a multi-protocol 16-channel radio, and I have been using it for quite a while now, so this is what I'm going to be using. But if I have a multi-protocol radio, you might be asking why I'm using a DSMX satellite, and that's because I trust the satellite, and we trust the satellite because if you remember the S2 Goose Sky video, we weren't using a DSMX satellite, we were using a Lemon RX, so it was DSM compatible, and that also had quite a lot of issues, and I almost crashed if you remember that video. I was mid-hurricane, and then my tail rotor just gave up, and then the gyro got all messed up. It was quite an odd flight, so I just have a DSMX satellite because I can trust it, so that's what we're going to be using. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for my intro, so let's go and main the video. Let's go and main the helicopter.